Ash woke up the next morning only a half hour before his battle with Misty. As Ash walked into the living room with Pikachu on his shoulder and Aipom and Eevee running at his feet, he walked in to hear a conversation. So then, he tells the other guy, "We'll try but they can't know we are Omni." Then they both walked away. Jesse said to Domino, Paul and Sarah, "What about Team Omni?" Ash asked, making him known. "Morning, boss," they say before Jesse and James alternate telling the story of the meeting last night. "So do you have any idea who Zero was talking to?" James asked. "Or who would be happy to help?" Jesse continued. "Or who they're gonna get." Meowth finished. "No, I don't, but that you guys. If not for you, I would have been surprised to see one of them here." "We'll find your answers soon enough," Ash told them, and they nodded in approval. "Okay, we should get going if we don't want to miss Ash's battle," Sarah pointed out. With that, they headed to the Pokemon Center lobby where they picked up Cynthia and Joey and went to Ash's battle with the Water Girl wannabe. Once again, Sarah and the Rockets sat in the box behind Ash with Joey, while Paul and Cynthia sat by the ex-friends gloating to them how good Ash was. This is a 3-on-3 battle on the water field between Misty of Kanto and Ash also of Kanto. Begin. "You won't win this time, Ketchum. Gold Duck, go," Misty told him as her water duck came out. "You said that last time and to give you a home advantage. Samurott, lend me your aura," Ash said as his overgrown sea otter came out. "Golduck, hydro pump." At her command a stream of water came from Golduck. "Razor shell to send it back," Ash said calmly as the scallops on Samurott came off in his hands and were waved around like swords, and just like Ash said, it sent the hydro pump slamming into Golduck. Golduck fury swipes. Then its nails grew and ran at Samurott and repeatedly. After it was done, it hopped back to Misty as she said, "Not so tough now, are you?" She taunted and smirked. Then she looked at Samurott and her smile vanished. It looked completely fine. "What just happened?" she asked. Misty. Sweet, stupid, naive Misty. Samurott has taken leaf storms and thunderbolts and gotten back up. A weak attack like that won't make him so much as flinch. "So much for Water Master," Ash taunted to her as Pikachu and Aipom almost fell off his shoulders laughing. Samurott showed them how real water types battle, Hydro Pump and Megahorn, Ash said. Then a huge water torrent was shot at Golduck, who managed go dodge, but the Megahorn knocked him onto the floor. Golduck. Confusion. But before it could attack, Ash gave another order. Razor Shell and Aqua Jet. Then once again a water sword-like object appeared. Instead of slamming Golduck, it hit the platform, launching him into the air, leaving him open to an Aqua Jet. Golduck is unable to battle the winner as Samurott. "Send out your next Pokemon." "Starmie, your turn," Misty said as her sea star-like Pokemon came out. Samurott returned. "Here's someone who wanted revenge for a while. Venusaur, lend me your aura." Then Ash's green plant dinosaur came out in place of Samurott. "Starmie, Ice Beam," Misty ordered. "Razor Leaf to block," Ash countered. Just like Ash said, the sharp leaves deflected the icy beam. Starmie Rapid Spin. Then Starmie started spinning rapidly at Venusaur. Vine Whip to catch it. Then spin it the other way. Venusaur released two dark green vines that grabbed and stopped Starmie. Then it pulled the vines and launched the water, psychic type, into a wall. Finish it off with a seed bomb. Then glowing green orbs came from Venusaur's flower and successfully knocked out Starmie. Misty growled as she brought Starmie back, and Ash thanked Venusaur before calling him back too. Starmie is unable to battle. Venusaur is the winner. Send out your last Pokemon. Gyarados, I need you. Then a large water dragon appeared and roared, scaring everyone except Ash's group. Ash picked up a Pokeball until Pikachu jumped onto the field, cheeks sparking. "Pikachu, you'd fight against me?" Misty asked cutely while stressing the "me" out. She expected him to shake his head and leave, but what she got was a thundershock from the little yellow mouse. Ash just laughed. "Pikachu, some other time. Misty's gonna yell at me for having the type advantage, so it'll give her an edge. Besides, wanna see Gyarados shiver out of its skin with a real roar." Pikachu was disappointed at first, but when he realized who was fighting, he cheered up. "Charizard, lend me your aura." Then once again that ear-splitting roar that could make Salamence back down was heard, and sure enough Ash, Pikachu and Aipom were the only ones not covering their ears. As the mighty lizard stopped its roaring, he saw who he was fighting. Ash, I get to kick her ass. Charizard said to Ash. Gyarados, yes. Ash said, clarifying. He was almost sure he heard Charizard grunt in disapproval, but he ignored it. Gyarados put that dragon in its place with Hydro Pump. Then a huge water cannon was hurled at Charizard. Knock it away. Then with a short roar and the flap of its wings, it flew into the Hydro Pump and used its wings to splash away the water. Again Gyarados. And again water was shot. Match it with a flamethrower. Then Charizard shot flames that were so hot they were almost white. The attacks collided, and what surprised almost everybody was the water couldn't break the fire. Gyarados' dragon breath. Then a green burst of flames came from Gyarados and was heading at Charizard. Show them a real dragon attack. Dragon Rage. Then a blue orb came from Charizard's mouth and met and broke right through the dragon breath and slammed into Gyarados. Gyarados. Twister. Then a swirling vortex of wind was sent at Charizard. Fly into it and shoot yourself into a fire bullet. Then Charizard flew the Twister, circled around a few times to pick up speed. Then he came out and rocketed at Gyarados, but he surrounded himself in a fire spin and rammed into Gyarados. That's when Gyarados couldn't take any more and fainted, with Charizard letting out a mighty roar in celebration. Gyarados is unable to battle. Charizard and Ash are the winners. Announced the ref. Once again, Misty walked off without a word while Ash was busy patting Charizard for a job well done. Ash walked outside the stadium and saw his friends there, and then Paul said, Ash, me, you and Joey need to talk. The rest of you head to the lake and wait. They nodded and left, except Cynthia, who gave Ash a kiss and then left with the rest. What's wrong, Paul? Ash asked. Well, I have 2 bits of news. First, Joey, here's your Nano Dex. I got it from the nurse before I left this morning. Paul said, handing Joey his watch. Joey was so excited he couldn't speak. He nodded in thanks before admiring it. It was just like Ash's and Paul's, but it had an orange band and a light blue screen. He took it and put it on, then he heard it say, Nice to meet you, sir. I am Dexter. It said to Joey. He was about to talk back before he remembered the second bit of news they had for Ash. Ash remember how Jesse and James saw Zero and he was getting help. Well, while I was out here waiting for you, I heard someone mention getting back at him to Trip and his friends while they were walking away. Paul informed Ash. Wow. I guess that answers who Zero's help was and who they were going to attack. After that, I'd have a hard time believing it's not me. Now all we need is to find out who Zero was talking to last night. Ash said to them. Maybe we could ask Jesse and James if they saw anything that sets him apart. Or if they saw any details on him. Joey suggested. Sounds good. Maybe they could look out. Ash said as Pikachu hopped off his shoulder and used his glowing tail to whack away a flamethrower. What was that? Another shadow? Joey asked. Paul and Ash looked at each other, knowing full well what it was and wished it were a shadow. No, that's Cassidy and Buffy, ex-Rockets, but now they're Elite Omni members. Ash explained as a blonde woman and a green-haired man appeared from the woods. Prepare for trouble, outside the wood, sang the lady. Make it double because you know you should. The man sang next. To send the world into devastation. The lady sang again. To spread the values of evil across our nation. The man picked up. To denounce the evils of hope and love. Continued the lady. To disperse about enemies like a big white glove. The man rhymed. Cassidy. Called the blonde girl. And Butch, of course. The green-haired man said. Team Omni wrecks you at the speed of light. Cassidy said. So just surrender now and save yourself a fight. Bob finished. Cassidy. Ash said. And Bush. Paul called, making Botch face fall. Now take flight. Cassidy said. No longer singing but commanding her Skarmory to take Botch's Houndoom into the air with it. Torterra. Stand by. Paul said as his giant turtle came out. Flame. Help me out. Joey said, calling his fire boar. Sceptile. You help too. Ash said as his grass lizard materialized. Skarmory. Flash cannon. Houndoom overheat. Septile, spin and use bullet seed. Then Septile started break dancing on the floor using bullet seed in all directions. The bullet seed managed to break apart the steel and fire types while causing a little damage too. Flame, heat crash. Then Embor became surrounded in a ball of fire and shot himself at Skarmory and Houndoom. Houndoom jumped and managed to avoid it, but Skarmory took the full-on hit. As Skarmory crashed and Houndoom landed, Paul ordered Torterra, earthquake. As the ground started to shake, Embor used heat crash to float while Septile used bullet seed on the ground. After the shaking stopped, Cassidy yelled, "Listen Chuck, don't just sit there. Attack." Skarmory steel wing. Then Skarmory charged with glowing wings. It's Butch, not Chuck. Why'd I even bother? Houndoom flare blitz. Then Houndoom surrounded itself in fire and charged too. Septile, send Skarmory back with leaf blade. Then with the leaves on his arms glowing and getting bigger, it slammed the leaves into Skarmory's glowing wing, and finally after a struggle, pushed Skarmory down. Torterra, use stone edge T intercepts that flare blitz. Torterra created stone from thin air and shot them at the flaming dog, effectively negating the attack. Flame, hammer arm on Houndoom. And then the Embor slammed its flowing arms onto the Houndoom as it pushed it into the floor, unconscious. Skarmory, avenge Houndoom with an air cutter. Then an X-shaped wave of air struck Septile. It hurt but not enough to take out the grass warrior. Septile, swallow energy ball and use leaf storm. Ash commanded. Septile followed orders and ate an energy ball, making the leaves on his arms and the orbs on his back glow a different shade of green. Then it created leaves from the air and slammed them into the steel type, knocking it out. Fine, we'll leave, but we can assure you Team Omni won't quit. Billy said as he and Cassidy disappeared into the forest. Well shit, Paul said, referring to the fact that they were coming back. Ash and Joey laughed and Ash showed Joey how to use their nano dex to heal their Pokemon, like a Pokemon Center does. After they healed their Pokemon, they went to the lake where everyone else was waiting. What to you so long, boss? Asked the trio. Cassidy, started Ash, and Botch too. Finished Paul. They attacked us out of nowhere. Joey told them. After letting them recover from the shock, Paul told them how he thinks Omni was getting the ex-friends to help and they were going to attack Ash. After Ash thanking the trio, he spoke. Whatever they're planning, they won't get away with it. Together we can beat them. Yay, we have 4 people on the level of a champion and the rest are at least on the Elite 4 level. Paul said, and then Joey asked. 4. Who's on a champion level? Cynthia, Ash, me and you. Paul answered. Wait, me? He asked confused. Yay, you have to be at least. Other than Paul, you're one of the only people to knock out just one of my Pokemon since I left and got this strong. Ash told him. Regardless, we should still have our best Pokemon ready. They need to work perfect with their other teammates and all of the Pokemon on our teams. I say we each pick our most elite Pokemon, and make plans with them. We'll be split into groups too. Paul said, eager to make a stand against the evil Omni. Paul is right. We must have our Pokemon in their best shape, ready for anything. I will get nano dexes for everyone else by tomorrow. Ash told them. They all nodded and split into groups. Okay, Group 1 is I, Ash and Joey. Paul said, gesturing to the 3 nano dex users. Group 2 is Sarah, Cynthia and Domino. They nodded and moved closer together. And you 3 are Group 3. He said, looking at the Rocket Trio. Why are you making groups? Asked Max as he again blew their position. Damn it, I've gotta start letting Lucario out again to warn me about intruders. He said, turning cold again. Lucario, lend me your aura. Ash said as the jackal came forth. What do you require, master? Lucario asked. Nothing, just thought you'd like to get out. Been a while. Ash responded. Then Lucario noticed them and readied an aura sphere. The traders looked at Ash waiting for him to call Lucario off, but were surprised when he let Lucario slam the aura sphere into a nearby tree as a warning. Why we are in groups is none of your business. You are not welcome here. Sarah said, sticking up for her brother. How come they get nano dexes? Misty asked, eyed the cool watch on Ash's wrist. Because I want to give them one. Also to piss you off. Ash said. Before anyone could counter. Master, I sense shadows. There are 4, about 5 minutes due west. Lucario informed Ash, who took off towards the west with Pikachu, Aipom and Lucario following. Nobody else followed, as Paul told them, knowing the traders would also go. Instead, Paul and the others sat there arguing and trying to get the traders to leave. Meanwhile, Ash was fighting shadows. Pikachu, Thunderbolt on the Staryu. Lucario, Metal Claw on the Golem and Aipom, mimic Lucario. Lucario slashed Golem with its glowing fists, and just before it got back up, Aipom slammed into it with his mimicked Metal Claw. Pikachu had just zapped the hell out of a Staryu and went on to Electro Ball a Magcargo. Perfect. Pikachu quick attack on the Magcargo. Lucario Bone Rush on the Delibird and Aipom Iron Tail on Delibird too. As Pikachu slammed into Magcargo, knocking him into a pile with the Golem and Staryu, Lucario and Aipom double-teamed the Delibird. Now that they were all together and weakened, it was time. Pikachu, Purifying Thunder. Ash ordered to his yellow friend. After the light from the thunder cleared, all you could see was a Staryu, Delibird, Golem and Magcargo, all non-shadows. After dealing with more shadows, Ash headed back to the lake expecting to find the traders gone. Only to see Paul's Torterra fighting a Steelix, Gyarados, Blaziken and Flygon. It was 4-on-1. Garchomp, Charizard, let's even the odds. Ash said as the 2 dragons sprang into action. Garchomp rushed into a Giga Impact that passed by Torterra, blocking a rock throw. Torterra, liking the backup, covered the recharging Garchomp with a Leaf Storm that pushed away the Sandstorm. Charizard launched a Flamethrower, again white hot, and took Steelix out in one hit. Now it was 3-on-3. Charizard followed by sending a Dragon Rage into Blaziken, stopping it from charging Torterra with Sky Uppercut. With Garchomp easily distracting Blaziken by flying around dodging flamethrowers, and Charizard in an air battle with Flygon, Torterra shot a Stone Edge at Gyarados. The attack didn't take it out, but a misfired Hyper Beam from Flygon did. Now it was 2-on-3. Garchomp stood behind Blaziken, holding it in place, letting it have a Razor Leaf and Bullet Seed from Torterra. That on top of the Dragon Pulse from Garchomp, Blaziken was down. Now it was 1-on-3. Charizard deflected multiple Dragon Pulses and Dragon Breaths from Flygon before launching a Dragon Rage at Flygon. Flygon managed to get back up and use a Hyper Beam, but Charizard's Flamethrower held it back. Charizard then proceeded to use a Dragon Tail on Flygon, sending it down to the ground. Defeated. Now it was over. What the hell was that? 4-on-1 is way too extreme to even a handicap battle. Ash said while letting Charizard and Garchomp rest by the lake. I know. They just threw out Pokemon after I told them to leave, for the 5th time. I just threw Torterra out to counter. Paul explained. Well guys, it's obvious we aren't wanted here. Dawn said to her friends. You think? Ash said sarcastically. Whatever. We have other people to talk to. Trip said, starting to leave. Talk to? You mean bother, right? Paul asked as his friends left. After multiple growls, Trip's group left. Back to what I was saying before. We should all have our best Pokemon ready. My best would be Torterra, Electivire, Magmortar, Drapion, Hydreigon and Absol. Paul told them. Mine would be Emboar, Unfezant, Zoroark, Jolteon, Sawsbuck and Absol. Joey said. I would say Pikachu, Charizard, Sceptile, Feraligatr, Garchomp and Lucario. Ash said. After that the other groups shared their teams with the other people in their group. Time soon fled, as it became time for Ash and Cynthia's date. Ash, Cynthia and Pikachu went for a walk to the park while everyone else went to bed. Ash and Cynthia walked through the park arm in arm. This time went even better because they were close from the beginning. I don't care how many times I see it, the sunset it amazing. Cynthia said with her head on Ash's free shoulder. Sure is. Ash said as he kissed her cheek. It sure is. He repeated while wrapping his arm around her shoulder, pulling her closer. As the sun finally set, Cynthia got off Ash. Before he could do anything, he felt himself being pushed to the floor and a pair of lips on his. Cynthia was on top of Ash, pinning his arms and legs down with hers and kissing him with passion. It didn't take long for Ash to kiss back. They stayed like that for God knows how long before breaking up only for air, and noticing it was dark out. They both laughed and kissed again for a short time, before they got up and went back to the hotel, holding hands again. As they reached Cynthia's room, Cynthia turned to Ash and said, "Thank you for another wonderful date. I look forward to another." Before kissing him again, putting her arms around his neck, while he put his around her waist, deepening it further. As they split again, Ash said, "Me too, I'll see you again tomorrow, Cynthia." Then kissing her one last time before he and Pikachu left for their room. "You really like her, don't you?" Pikachu asked his friend from his shoulder. "Yes, Pi, I really do. There's just something about her that separates her from other girls. I've never felt like this for anyone before. Her being the Sinnoh champion is just a bonus." Ash replied. "Well, I knew you'd like her even if she wasn't a champion, but you're right about it being a bonus. You know any other girl would kill to be Cynthia, don't you?" Pikachu asked. "What do you mean, Pi?" Ash asked, oblivious. "I know you were just pretending to be dense, but I guess it rubbed off. I mean, there are lots of other girls crushing on you. I know you know Bitch Stee and her bitches had crushes on you, but there were more." Pikachu told him. "Oh yay, like who?" Ash asked and couldn't help but laugh at how Pikachu referred to Misty and the other girls. "Annabelle for starters. Zoe, Bianca the klutz from Unova, Georgia the dragon novice's rival, Ursula always looked at you like she wanted you away from Dawn. Remember that chick from the third movie? She was looking at you pretty hard too." Pikachu answered honestly. "Third movie? You mean Lisa? And I didn't notice them, probable because most of them were after I met Cynthia." Ash asked. "If Lisa was the one that had that awesome APOM, yes. That APOM was funny, he told me, and I quote, 'Hey, if the world doesn't fall apart by tomorrow, will you help me build a snowman?'" Pikachu said with a laugh. Ash couldn't help but laugh too as they reached their room. As they opened the door, they found Sarah, Domino and Paul asleep and a kneeling trio looking out the window intently. Ash figured it must be important because there were still playing cards on the table. As Ash walked over to them, he couldn't help but laugh as he saw 3 aces on Jesse's chair. The trio noticed him. They motioned for him and Pikachu over to them and to be quiet. As they got to the window, he heard a conversation. "Okay, so you'll all help." The man Ash knew as Zero said to people Ash recognized. The people nodded and Zero spoke again. "Good, so tomorrow we attack Ketchum when he least expects it," Zero told them. With that, Zero and the other people walked away. "I knew they didn't like me, but to go this far?" Ash asked them, referring to the traitors he saw walk away. "So what are you going to do, boss?" James asked. "Well, tomorrow is the best 8 which starts full battles, so my guess is they'll attack after his match," Jesse said. "Who's still left in?" It went from 128 to 8 pretty quick. Meowth jumped in. "Let's see. There's Cynthia, Lance, Steven, Wallace, Alder, Max, Paul and me. God only knows how Max made it this far. Probably only fought kids with teams of Magikarps and Piplups. Oh well, tomorrow Paul fights him. No way he'll get by. I have to fight Lance tomorrow," Ash told them. "So boss, who do you think will make top 4? Jesse asked. "Well, me and Paul for sure. Probably Cynthia and Alder," Ash guessed. "If ya fight Cynthia, do ya think ya can beat Garchomp?" "Your Garchomp told me he isn't fighting his love. Or whatever that means," Meowth said. "No problem. I have Charizard, Sceptile, and let's not forget the Pika power of my best buddy," Ash said as Pikachu rubbed his cheek against Ash's. Ash said goodnight to the trio as they all walked back into their rooms, wondering what tomorrow will hold. With Ash in bed and Pikachu protecting Apom and Eevee again, the best friends went to sleep again, thinking about the satisfaction of beating Lance.